Good morning. It's good to be with you again this morning, and hope you had a great weekend. And I know I certainly did. Had an opportunity to spend a little time with my granddaughter, who had her third birthday, or actually her third birthday is today. But we got together yesterday afternoon and went tobogganing and did some outdoor stuff with them. We're continuing with our building on, building the four pillars of for a healthy Christian business leader. And the pillars are healthy relationships, biblical financial values, biblical spirituality, and balanced living. And this week our focus is going to be on pillar number 2, which is biblical financial values. The series for this week is called How Much Should I Give? So, just want to really kind of focus in on that. And I'm going to tackle the big one right off the bat. And that is tithing, yes or no? Yeah, tithing, yes or no? And many Christians want to enforce tithing. Often pastors are terrified if you talk about tithing in any other way, but you have to give your 10% or more. And I've been a pastor for many years, and I've never preached that. In fact, I've preached against that. But I realize that there are different views on tithing, and that's okay. So, but when people tithe and then want to make other people feel guilty about not tithing, that's where I feel we need to address that issue. And so, the Old Testament, when you think about tithing and answering the question, tithing yes or no, there are some facts that oftentimes people overlook when it comes to the issue of tithing, and things that they don't really take into account when it comes to the Old Testament. So here's some things I want to share with you. First of all, the Old Testament tithe was actually 23.33%. So 23.33% annually, not 10%, as many people, and as frankly most Christians, when they think about tithing, they think of 10%. So in the Old Testament, 10% went to the Levites annually. So every year, 10% went to the Levites. So I think pastors might actually appreciate this, because that would mean that pretty much everything that comes in the offering plate these days as a tithe would go to the pastor. So that'd be a pretty good taking care of the pastor situation, right? On the other hand, 10%. Another 10%. So you had 10% that went to the Levites, and then another 10% annually that would be taken for the festivals. And so again, that was a significant tithe. So you had the 10% for the Levites, 10% for the festivals, and then you had annually 3.33%, but it was collected every 3 years. And it was 10% again. So you had 2 years where you paid 20%, and then on the third year you paid 30% of your pay. Good morning, Jeremy. Good to have you here. 30% of your pay would go to, be considered a tithe. So it wasn't 10%. It was 30% every 3 years and 20% every year. So those who feel that, I've given my 10%, and so as a result of that, I have fulfilled my duty to God, and I've heard many times people say, I wasn't tithing, and then I started tithing, and I gave my 10%, and God just blessed me, because when I stopped robbing from God, then God blessed me so much. But but they're missing 13.33% annually, of what? So when they want to quote that passage, in Malachi it says that, if you haven't given your tithe, then you've robbed from God. And oftentimes people will quote that, and they'll preach that as a way to make people feel guilty and force people into giving that 10%. That passage was talking about 30% every 3 years and 20% every year, not 10%. So I would caution people from patting themselves on the back because they've given 10%. And then the other thing that is important to recognize is that in the poor in the Old Testament were not required to give a tithe at all. In fact, they were the ones that received the tithe. That third tithe was called a poor tithe. So every 3 years, a poor tithe was raised, and that then was used to help the poor. Now, I've said this from the pulpit in my church, and I've been criticized for it over the years, but I've said that for some people, to give their tithe is actually a sin. And it's a sin because if they can't afford to clothe their children, if they have to choose between putting money in the church offering or putting food on the table or buying winter boots for their kids, I believe that they need to buy winter boots for their kids. Now, when I say that, I want to caution, it's not an issue of, can I put my kids in hockey, in baseball, in soccer, in gymnastics, in swimming lessons and all of that. So I can't give because, well, I've got these hockey fees, or I've got, to buy all this hockey equipment. That's a whole different situation there, right? But there are people who truly are poor, and sometimes people still want to lay it upon them that they have to give a minimum of 10%. And I just want to caution against that, because in the Old Testament, the poor did not have to give a tithe, they received the tithe. Now, often Christians will say things like this: well, we're not under the law, the tithing law, we're not under that law, but that should be the minimal standard. That should be the bare minimum that we should give is 10%, and then we should give more than that. And again, it's used in a way that really just guilts people into feeling that they have to give more than maybe they really can give. But I just want to say this: for those of you that might think that way, think about the fact that unless you're giving 23.33% annually, you're in essence being a hypocrite by saying that people have to give a tithe. And that needs to be the bottom standard, the Old Testament tithe, because the Old Testament tithe was not 10%. I can say that again. It was 23.33%. 20% annually and 30% every 3 years. So today, as you go about your day, consider, are you committed to the Old Testament tithe? If you are you committed to giving 23.33% annually? Or 20% annually, and every third year giving 30%. Is that what your commitment is? Because that's the Old Testament tithe. That's the Old Testament commitment that's required of those who are going to tithe. Now, my caution is, let's be careful about being legalistic about this. And let's recognize, and we're going to talk throughout the week about how much to give and how much should I give. And I'm not going to talk so much about where to give, but how much to give. And but again, as I said, I want to start off with the question about tithing first. And then tomorrow we'll be looking at further topics related to this. So I encourage you to come and join us tomorrow morning again at 6:30. And may the Lord bless you. Have a great day.